You heard from Ophelia a moment ago. It's just surreal to be here right now. Robbie Rissman and I were down here in Greenfield, actually just when we were storm chasing, not too long before we saw one of those tornadoes.
The tornado is just passing by us to the west-northwest, maybe, I would say, less than a mile. It's going to kind of pass by this little substation here that you can see just past our stop sign. So it's continuing to truck off to the north and east.
Now we just headed back up this blacktop here north of Prescott to the south of the little town of Williamson, and you're seeing multiple of these big wind turbine towers that have been destroyed by this tornado. We're still having accidents, though, outside this afternoon. This one just came up in the last 10 minutes. This is on I-35 in the southbound lanes, just east of Huxley, right between there and Cambridge. There's a jackknife semi there. Town of Boughton is right here. Town of Woodward, as you can see, is right here, right where Highway 141 takes that bend for folks who take that drive down into the northwest suburbs of Des Moines. This is where your circulation is. And moving off to the north at about 55 miles per hour. Most Iowans are used to seeing tall corn this time of year, nearly ready to harvest, but in the future you might be seeing corn that's ready to harvest as well, but it's a lot shorter.
Some parts of our state will see a little rain tonight, and that is good news.
That is good news, Stacy. Obviously, a lot of the state really dry. Some of those rural gravel roads, they get pretty dusty.
Yes, they do. Lots of dust out there.
When you don't have a lot of rainfall. We do have some good news, though. There's possibilities.
It's pretty nice out here. I mean, it's a little warm. Temperatures are in the 80s at this hour. There's not a ton of a breeze, which is great if you're riding a bike, although I could use one. Live look down in Lamoni. I just laugh every time I look at this shot because the Iowa Welcome Center sign is right there as you head into town. Welcome to Iowa. It's beautiful. -2 is the temperature with -22 for the wind chill.
Well, Zane, if you like cold weather, warm weather, rain, snow, wind, I mean, you get it all. Coming up.
This week's going to have a lot of stuff happening here, Todd. We're going from 70s to snow basically in parts of the state over the next few days. Actually, just in the next 3 days here. These are probably going to be the most action-packed parts of the next coming week here. First up tomorrow, big warm-up up into the 70s. Comes with a breeze, though, dry air, so elevated fire risk tomorrow on your Monday. Tuesday, I think we'll start to bring in more clouds, but still warm in most of the state. There's a chance of actually a thunderstorm or two, at least some rainfall late Tuesday night, and that's the system that comes in then Wednesday, which will change over to snow for parts of Iowa and comes with some strong winds, too. We've got to talk about that. We don't have all the details just yet because currently that's Wednesday's system. You see that dashed white, like kind of silvery white line, that big dip in the jet stream, that's a trough of low pressure, still developing, so it hasn't taken shape, and it hasn't come on shore yet. So once it comes off the west coast, then we'll have better data on it from all the weather stations, the weather balloons, and everything on land, so that we'll be able to get you a better idea of everything that's going to happen with that system once we get towards tomorrow. Here's what we know now, though. First up, we'll get past tomorrow. By Tuesday, a boundary is going to develop kind of southwest to northeast across Iowa. That'll be sort of the zone then where low pressure takes shape as we head towards later Tuesday and into Tuesday night. That comes towards Iowa into the early morning hours of Wednesday. So before the sun comes up Wednesday, you'll probably have at least some rain showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder too late Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. And then see there's some snow taking shape out towards Nebraska. That comes into northwest Iowa then as we head through the morning hours of Wednesday. So here around the Des Moines metro area up to Ames and eastward, not going to see any snow through the morning, I think, of Wednesday. Northwest Iowa will, though. This will be one of those days where actually on Wednesday we'll probably have like 60s in southeast Iowa, while there might be blowing snow in parts of northwest Iowa. Then as we go through the day Wednesday, that rain snow line will travel eastward, so it goes from northwest Iowa here into the middle of the state, and then eventually that system departs as we head towards Wednesday night. So snow amounts, we don't know those for like numbers just yet. That'll be more of a tomorrow's forecast thing once that system comes off the ocean. But here's kind of the general thinking, where you see those darker blue colors to even purple colors. Let's say right now, let's say about a line from Harlan, Carroll up towards Fort Dodge, and then Mason City and Clear Lake. Roughly that line to the north and west. I think you have a good chance of seeing multiple inches possibly of snow, and depending on the consistency of that snow, if it's kind of wet, sticky snow, or if we can get a little bit of some powdery stuff, the last few inches of it, we could have some serious problems in terms of blowing snow on Wednesday. Remember about a week and a half ago? Might be looking at something similar to that. Here's our wind gusts that we're looking at Wednesday morning and then through the day Wednesday. Winds turn to the north to northeast, 45, 50, 55 mile per hour gusts. If we can get some of that snow to move, move, then we're going to have probably some serious visibility problems, maybe some blowing, drifting snow in parts of northwest Iowa too, where that snow has stuck, and that wind will continue through the day. So if you're in northwest Iowa particularly, Wednesday might be a problem day for you. Backtrack to tomorrow. St. Patty's Day is looking great. Temperatures up into the 70s for most of Iowa. Tomorrow, it comes with a caveat of that gusty southwest wind, though, 35-mile-per-hour gusts. If you're on spring break, you want to go out and do some yard work, something like that, maybe don't be burning any brush or grass or anything like that tomorrow, though, because those winds will be dry. The rest of the 8-day forecast, once we get past Wednesday, looks more tranquil, we'll call it. Back to more normal temperatures Thursday. The sunshine comes back out. The wind speeds go down. A couple of systems later this week and in the weekend could bring us a few more rain showers. Looks just like rain, not snow or anything like that. Later Friday, that's possible, and then this upcoming Sunday. But temperatures, no big deal by then, 50s to around 60.
We're right along Highway 34. The town of Red Oak is about 15 miles to our west. We'll take our live shot right now. It's not nearly as exciting as Trey's. Why? Because we're still waiting for the storms that are right about 35 or more, 40 miles to our southwest to get to us. I want to draw your attention to one thing, though. Look at the grass here in the bottom of our shot. All right, pretty brisk wind being reported in the KCCI Storm Chaser on our onboard weather station. 20, 25 mile-per-hour winds out of the southeast. Now look at the clouds up above us. Those are moving a different direction, south to almost southwesterly, zipping along. Different wind directions, lots of wind shear.
Radar data can often be misleading, all right? So here's how radars work. First off, they shoot out beams of energy, and then that energy bounces off of whatever's in the sky, and it comes back to the radar, and the radar figures out and shows you that on on your phone screen or the TV or whatever. Here's what I want you to remember, though. Radar beams, as they travel outward, they also travel upward. That's something that not a lot of people know. So in cases like today, you oftentimes will have snow falling down from clouds aloft, and it's hitting us some dry air at the ground level, and that dry air just eats it up. It sublimates the snow is what we would call it scientifically. Okay, so no one's seeing any snow. But if you look at the radar can see that snow far away at least, because it's shooting all the way up into the cloud, thousands of feet aloft, far away. But it can't see the snow right overhead because the radar beam is much lower to the ground, close to the radar itself. That's why you'll see like a hole or a bubble around where the radar site is. And then oftentimes what happens is the snow continues to fall, it eventually cools and saturates that dry layer air below it, and the radar hole kind of shrinks and eventually disappears, and then everyone is now seeing snow and there's no more hole or bubble on the radar. Now,